Broncos fans, the wait is over. There will be no more weekends without football, no more wondering how you're going to spend your Sunday. This Saturday, the preseason kicks off, and what better way than subscribe right here at the Broncos Breakdown. We're going to give you everything you need to know throughout the preseason, into the regular season, the quarterback battle, players to watch, everything. Go ahead and subscribe right now to the Broncos Breakdown so we can give you all that great Broncos content you want. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm Matthew Peterson, and we're going to open things up by talking about 5 players to watch for in the first Broncos preseason game. The wait is over. Football is here. You can say it with me. It is this Saturday in Minnesota against the Vikings. So let's kick it off with 5 players to watch for during the first preseason game. And number 1 on the list, you saw it coming from a million miles away at Mile High. It's Drew Lock. The quarterback 1A, 1B, you can decide, we'll talk about that later, is not having the best practice right now. Check out some of his notes from this past joint practice against the Minnesota Vikings. Well, will he take the first snap against Minnesota? We'll answer that in a moment, but he was edged out by Teddy Bridgewater during joint practice with the Vikings, and it doesn't bode well when you're listed as a co-starter, which means it's as neck and neck as it can get, and one guy, clearly has an advantage over you. So does Locke have the starting job down? I don't know. I don't think he's not a starting lock. It could really go either way. I thought going into the first preseason game that Locke would have the edge purely because he's the second-round pick from 2019. I mean, he's only played 18 games. That's barely more than a season through 2 seasons. So you can kind of sell yourself on, well, we haven't seen a full book on him yet, but it's hard to say right now. I don't think Locke is a for sure lock, but I do think he will get that first snap against the Vikings. But that does bring us to number 2, and that's Teddy Bridgewater. They traded for him over the offseason. They wanted to bring in competition, and they have gotten more than that. Teddy Bridgewater shined during that practice with the Minnesota Vikings. Check out what he did there. Had a better practice than Locke against Minnesota. And by the way, this is a Vikings team that Locke was drafted by. You go back to 2014, out of Louisville, the Vikings invested in him. Unfortunately, had that horrible knee injury that for a moment you thought might end his career, but moving past that, had a great practice against Minnesota. I mean, just a beautiful dime. Oh my gosh, you guys got to go watch this one. Finished the day with a 50-yard touchdown pass to Jeudy. That's a name you're going to want to remember for later on in the show. But where do they stand right now on the depth chart? Who's got the edge? You got Locke and Bridgewater 1A and 1B. After yesterday's practice on Wednesday, probably swap them, make Bridgewater ahead of Locke by a hair. But I still think Locke will get that first snap against the Vikings, although I wouldn't be blown away if it's the other way around. But here's what they did last year. Check out their 2020 stats. Not great. I mean, look at Drew Lock, for example. Start with him. 16 touchdowns and his interceptions. I mean, he nearly, Jameised himself. 16-16 club. Couldn't get over that 3,000-yard mark. I think a big thing was his inability to get on the field. Now, last year, COVID didn't help because of protocols, but rookie season didn't get a full slate either. Only played 5 games. Meanwhile, for Bridgewater, I mean, he aired the ball out a lot. 3,700 yards, but still, just 15 touchdowns to show for, 11 interceptions. That's not what Carolina really envisioned when they got him from the Saints, and that's where they decided to move on from him after 1 year. One big thing, one big difference. Look at the top there, completion percentage. Under 60% for Locke, while Bridgewater is about 12 points higher, knocking on the door of 70. That really speaks to the type of quarterback they are. Locke, he loves Mile High. You know why? Because he gets an extra 5 yards on his throw. He loves to air it out. Bridgewater, a little more dink and dunk, a little more underneath. But yeah, let's talk about who you guys will think will be the first quarterback to take a snap in the preseason opener. If you think it's Drew Lock, go down in the comments, type L. If you think it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater, give me a B. Personally, I'm torn, but I'm going to go with L, just because he's that 2019 second-round draft pick. All right, guys, if you love the Broncos report, if you love the Broncos for anything, take our subscriptions past Wilson Peak to the top of the Rocky Mountains. Subscribe down below so we can give you more Denver Broncos content as the preseason rolls on and into the regular season. Next up here on the players to watch for in the preseason opener, Patrick Surtain. That's right, the first-round draft pick out of the University of Alabama. He's been spectacular against the Vikings. He was the star of the defense during the joint practice, recorded multiple dazzling pass breakups. I mean, just brilliant in every single facet. You guys go online, and all you're gonna find is Patrick Surtain highlights from that practice. Drafted 9th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. Some Broncos fans may have wanted to see a quarterback. I think no matter how you guys come out of this, you're going to still like Surtain as a player. But hey, if you want to watch some of these highlights, go down to my Twitter. Follow me at Matthew Petey. And I got all the Patrick Surtain highlights retweeted so you guys can easily find them. Give me a follow on Twitter for more Broncos and NFL news around the clock. But let's talk about who you guys think will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Will Patrick Surtain II win Defensive Rookie of the Year? Here's what you got to know about this. The last cornerback to win Defensive Rookie of the Year was not that long ago. Yeah, I thought I guys throw you off there. No, you don't have to go back very far. Marshawn Lattimore back in 2017. He was the last one to do it, so not that far ago, so you don't have to be a sack monster to get Defensive Rookie of the Year. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no in the comments if you think PS2 can win Defensive Rookie of the Year. For me, ultimately, it comes down to playing time if he can win this award. You have to have everything go right for you if you want to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And the biggest thing is being on the field as much as possible. And I just don't know if that's in the cards for him right now. You look at the Broncos cornerback depth chart, Kyle Fuller, Ronald Darby, Bryce Callahan, round out 1, 2, and 3. I mean, Surtain's going to get plenty of playing time. Don't get me wrong. He's not going to be stuck on the bench. He'll be all over the gridiron. But if you're going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, you got to play a lot of snaps because someone else will edge you out, and that's kind of the difference maker a lot. Next up in our players to watch, let's look at the man, the myth, the legend, the heart and soul of the Broncos defense. That's Von Miller. He's back after missing all of 2020 due to an ankle injury, and he is pumped up. Look what he had to say about potentially getting into the Hall of Fame. It's just beautiful. That's everybody's dream. But I'm still here working on my Hall of Fame resume right now. I want to make that resume as ironclad as I can. And that's Von Miller on getting into the Hall of Fame. Reason I put that in there is he's talking about everything he can for his resume, including the preseason. Like, he's treating the preseason like it's a Super Bowl sometimes. And he is going all out. You go back to that Vikings joint practice, and he was just awesome there. And here's his career numbers. We talk about him being a Hall of Famer potentially. Let me throw these numbers at you here. Through 135 games, 106 sacks, 26 forced fumbles. He is building himself a very impressive Hall of Fame resume through 11 seasons. I think he's on track for sure, but he thinks he's got to put some icing on the cake here, and why not? Why not do it in the preseason? Give people something to watch. And finally, our fifth player to watch, it is Jeudy, the second-year wideout from the University of Alabama. Didn't have maybe the rookie season he would have hoped for, kind of a slow start, but Jeudy is just great. He's been dynamite in all of training camp in the preseason, and he was the overall star of that joint practice with the Vikings. Surtain was the defensive star. Jeudy was the number one star. He put multiple Vikings on skates. You thought Minnesota was cold? It was ice cold, and they were figure skating all over it. And that's why they're the hockey state. I mean, they were just breaking ankles all over the place. But my only question for Jeudy, if he's going to have that true breakout sophomore season, will this quarterback fiasco hold him back? Potentially. It's gone both ways. I mean, we could talk about Josh Gordon and the fact that he had an amazing season in Cleveland with a bit of a revolving door at quarterback and not much stability, but plenty of receivers need a little help from their quarterback to get a phenomenal season in. So will the quarterback play hinder him? Maybe, maybe not. I'm kind of leaning towards the yes way just because he's still only in his second year. He needs a little help and some great passes from his QB. But talking about maybe his starting quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, here's what TB had to say about him during that joint practice. Jeudy, man, he scares me. The way he's in and out of breaks, he can't have any ACLs or knees. I wish I had his knees. But that man, the way he's able to change direction, he makes all of his routes look the same. He's doing a great job attacking the ball when we throw it to him over the middle. He's having fun. And that was one of the big praises for Jeudy coming out of college, that route running. The first 5 yards off the line of scrimmage as a DB, you can't tell if he's about to do a curl or go deep or up the middle. It's a post. I mean, you could just list all the routes. He doesn't have a tell after 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Here's a stat from 2020, 52 catches, nearly 900 yards, 856, but that average, beautiful, 16.5. But the TD production, maybe not where he'd like to have it, but hopefully we'll get that number inflated this year and balloon it up closer to double digits. So guys, crystal ball time, let me know. Over, under, I think 1,000 yards is fair for Jeudy this season. If you think he's going to get in the overs club, give me an O down below. If you think 1,000's just too much for the second year first round draft pick, give me a U for under. Guys, that's the 5 players to watch for. Keep an eye on them throughout the entire preseason, but especially here in the preseason opener this upcoming Saturday against the Minnesota Vikings on the road in Minneapolis. It's at 4 Eastern, 2 Mountain Time, like I said, in Minnesota. Broncos on the road. Just 3 preseason games this year. Remember that. Usually we're 4, so we added a regular season game, which means we lost a preseason game. So this is first of 3 preseason this Saturday, 2 Mountain Time, 4 Eastern. And finally, before we wrap up the video, predict the score. 'Tis the season. We got football back. Give me a score. Let me know the score and who you think's going to win between the Broncos and the Vikings down below in the comments.